train to be awake and finally wake up, will I no longer be afraid to die? Right? I recently, 5 years ago now, fortunately, I'm now in a big survivor camp. I had a stage 4 throat cancer, right? And all through that process of death, with the heavy radiation and the chemo, it was 4 months of intense treatment. I was slowly dying, right? And it was the most interesting, because not once did the fear of death come up. I'm more in the Woody Allen camp. Death doesn't frighten me. Life frightens the hell out of me, right? But death doesn't frighten me. So no, if I awaken to the fact that my ego, right? Well, like I say, I teach about ego, I say ego is a figment of divine imagination. It's a temporary reference. I actually think I'm a living creature instead of a thought process. There is a living essence. There is consciousness, right? But this interplay and this fear of life and death, when you realize who you are, suddenly death is just quiet. Death is just the end of argument, right? So it gets into, this is where the myth of reincarnation becomes very problematic, because the idea that thinking and feeling exist outside the composite physical realm creates a belief that then can fear death. But when you understand that fundamentally you're already dead, right? You say fundamentally you're pure and empty, and that the reflective nature is temporary. All it means is that you disappear, right? But consciousness continues, God continues, spirit continues, but your individuation goes into silence again. So when you finally recognize the truth of who you are, when your insight's deep enough, you don't fear death, and you also don't fear life. Now life becomes erotic instead of neurotic, right? And the truth of the gift of life. You are a gift consciousness gives to herself or his self or this self. And so fear of death, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? How deep is your insight? You're afraid of dying? You don't understand that what you are is a temporary pattern of reflectivity in a conscious field of billions of conscious entities all interacting temporarily. So no, when you awaken, death, bring it on, right? So it's a good idea to awaken if you want to be free.